Haunted Castle Revisited is a game that takes one of Konami's most infamous missteps and turns it into a retro platformer worth playing. With updated graphics, tighter controls, and some awesome new gameplay tweaks, this isn't just a simple remaster, it's almost like a redemption story for a game that's been long overshadowed by the Castlevania series. But does it live up to the Belmont legacy, or is it still haunted by its past? Let's dive into Haunted Castle Revisited and see if it finally breaks the curse. In Haunted Castle Revisited, you step into the shoes of Simon Belmont, who must brave Dracula's minions to rescue his wife, Selina. The game remains faithful to its classic roots without expanding on the original narrative. While the cutscenes have received a visual upgrade with enhanced animations, there are no additional storytelling elements, voice acting, or new sequences added. The focus is on preserving the core plot while giving it a fresh coat of paint that enhances the overall experience for both new players and returning fans. Jumping in now to the gameplay and controls, and Haunted Castle Revisited stays true to its roots as a side-scrolling action platformer, but significantly refines the mechanics. The original's stiff controls have been vastly improved, offering more responsive inputs, a smoother jump arc, and refined hit detection, making the gameplay feel much more polished. A standout feature is the variety of whip upgrades, providing multiple ways to tackle enemies. The torch sub-weapon is particularly cool, functioning similar to the holy water, but with its own unique twist. The new cross sub-weapon delivers an impressive AoE attack, reminiscent of Richter's item crash from Rondo of Blood, adding a fresh layer of strategy. The game also introduces multiple difficulty settings, making it accessible for both newcomers and seasoned players seeking a challenge. Boss fights are another highlight with distinct attack patterns that test your reflexes and strategic thinking. The controls feel tight and responsive, making every whip strike and jump precise, a stark contrast to the original Haunted Castle's frustrating mechanics. Developer M2 has done an impressive job fixing the game, transforming it into a much more enjoyable experience. Let's discuss now the graphics and art style, because that's changed a lot here, and Haunted Castle Revisited enhances the original's pixel art with a modern touch, featuring detailed backgrounds, fluid animations, and vibrant colors that capture the gothic horror aesthetic perfectly. These sprites look fantastic in the updated 2.5D style, and the game has received a significant facelift over the original arcade version, with visuals reminiscent of maybe the PS1, PS2, Dreamcast era. It's a massive upgrade, actually, that makes the game feel like a modern reimagining rather than just a simple port. Now let's talk about the music, because that's always a big talking point in the Castlevania series. And the music is a huge step up from the original arcade game soundtrack, offering a much richer and more dynamic audio experience. For example, like just as you hit stage 3 and enter the castle, the classic Bloody Tears kicks in, evoking that familiar Castlevania nostalgia, but it sounds different from the NES version, so you'll be able to experience that when you play it. It's pretty cool. The soundtrack has been overhauled to just better fit the game's atmosphere, bringing a much-needed improvement that elevates the overall experience. This new audio treatment, along with the revamped gameplay, really helps to breathe new life into what was once a lackluster title. So, who is this game for? This game's perfect for fans of classic Castlevania titles and retro gamers who appreciate the challenge of old-school action platformers. It's particularly geared towards hardcore fans of Castlevania who are eager to play a game by Konami that, while not considered canon, offers a very similar experience to the original Castlevania. Let's dive in now to the content. So, although it's a very short game with an average playthrough taking about 45 minutes, every minute of it is enjoyable. Plus, its inclusion in the Castlevania Dominus Collection as a bonus game adds extra value for the fans. Now, when it comes to the game's difficulty, the game is challenging. This was still an arcade game. It was meant to eat up your quarters. It definitely stays true to the arcade roots. However, What developer M2 has been able to do, I feel like, is basically bring a modern update to the game that feels more suited for console play, allowing you to experience the game without raging. It's fun to play both this version and the original, and just imagine how many quarters you would have pumped into the arcade to see the end credits. The original Haunted Castle was clearly designed to devour quarters, while Haunted Castle Revisited feels like developer M2 fixed the game to play on a modern console rather than an arcade cabinet designed to eat as many of your quarters as possible. Now, when it comes to the game's emotion and charm, Haunted Castle Revisited captures the essence of what made the original arcade game memorable while addressing, I think, all of its flaws. Playing Haunted Castle Revisited was a real treat because I played the original Haunted Castle arcade game, and it's not a good game as much as I want to like it. So to see developer M2 successfully fix the game was both surprising and unsurprising at the same time. It was surprising because the original game was so flawed that I didn't think it could be salvaged. On the other hand, it's unsurprising because M2 is an extremely talented and savvy developer. The improved visuals, enhanced gameplay make for a nostalgic yet revitalized experience that is both charming and thrilling. There's a genuine sense of progression as you conquer each stage, and the game's atmosphere pulls you into its world of gothic horror very well. So let's briefly touch on the replay value. While Haunted Castle Revisited is an enjoyable experience, I think playing through it once is usually enough, especially since it's featured as a bonus game in the collection. The improvements over the original are substantial, but its short length and straightforward gameplay limit the replayability somewhat. So, is this game fun to play? Well, despite its tough as nails difficulty, Haunted Castle Revisited is a blast to play. The boss fights especially are really cool, featuring screen-filling bosses that provide a satisfying challenge. The Frankenstein boss fight is a huge highlight, and the final fight with Dracula has been notably improved over the original. I don't want to give any spoilers, and I won't, but for those who beat the original, let's just say it's a much better experience now. And again, I don't know a lot of people who beat the original. I didn't even get to Frankenstein on the original arcade game, so this was my first time experiencing that boss too, and it was really cool. So for those new to both versions, I'd actually recommend playing the original first to see how broken it was before jumping into the revisited version. Trust me, you'll have a greater appreciation and understanding if you play them in that order. And you can probably beat the original within 30 to 40 minutes. And if it's very hard, you can go into the settings, change the difficulty, increase the amount of lives you get, and you'll be able to get through the game. Let's talk now about the legacy of Haunted Castle. Haunted Castle Revisited, to me, serves as a love letter to fans of the original arcade game, while setting a new standard for how classic titles can be updated for modern audiences. It honors the legacy of the Castlevania series by delivering a polished, challenging, and visually stunning experience when compared to the original arcade game, and ends up being an unexpected highlight of the Dominus Collection. Alright guys, now it's time for my final thoughts. Haunted Castle Revisited is a stellar update to a cult classic that retains the charm of the original game while fixing its most glaring issues. It's a testament to how much care has been put into bringing this forgotten chapter of Castlevania history back to life. So whether you're a longtime fan or a newcomer, this game deserves a spot in your collection. Thanks guys for joining me on this journey through Haunted Castle Revisited. It's been great to see how this game was brought back from the shadows, and it's clear that developer M2 did an impressive job fixing what was once a very frustrating experience. If you're a fan of Castlevania or just love seeing forgotten games get a second chance, this one's worth checking out. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to ThunderStash Gaming, and ring the bell to stay updated on all my latest reviews, and be sure to drop a comment below. Have you played the original Haunted Castle? What did you think of the changes in Revisited? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, And if you're craving more Castlevania content, be sure to check out my other reviews linked in the description, and stay tuned because there's plenty more video games to review. Until next time, keep gaming, stay retro, and remember, you're never too old to play video games.